So legs are completely built on endurance, and this is why you're not getting them. People continually make fun of them, and they're not getting the growth you want. All right, so why your legs are not growing and why people keep making fun of them. You keep trying to lift more, lifting heavier, thinking, oh, my legs are going to grow. Oh, man, your legs are still small, but I'm lifting heavier. So when I first started out in the gym, this guy, he came up to me, he showed me a routine. And before this, I already was thinking I had to do it all on my own, and I was already structured where if you told me to do something, I was willing to do whatever it took, and I would follow it to a T. And it got to the point, I saw I got results from it, and now I didn't want to venture out and try new things because if something's already giving me results, well, what if I do this and it doesn't give me? So I fell into the trap of creating this 3-hour workout. Basically, I'd add more and more on. And this guy, he looked just like Dr. Phil, talk about him all the time. Came up to me, he's like, I'm training here smart, but this buddy over here, he's overtraining. And back then I was like, I took it personal. And he wasn't in the best shape, but he at least knew what he was talking about. He had a good background. He was one of those people, he's real smart about it, but he didn't necessarily have the shape, and he knew that and all that stuff. And if I had took that advice back then and applied it, it probably would have worked a little bit better, but I just didn't have the right guidance till I had the right person. So I remember it distinctively, I was in high school, whatever. People, they saw I was making progress, but it was basically they would try to still find something to nitpick because, some people, they just don't feel the best about themselves, whatever, so it helped them feel a little bit better. And because I wasn't on 10 just yet, I hadn't fully mastered my body, there's always room for improvement. They would still find one little thing to nitpick. My ass I always had the ass department, but the legs hadn't caught up yet, or I was top heavy. My body, basically. So I remember he'd be like, "Yeah, he's built, but his legs, whatever." So I finally wanted to freaking figure out the leg thing, and it took hiring the right coach and applying his philosophy. And I didn't understand at the time. You got to question when a coach gives you things. It's a good thing. That's how you actually learn. That's the whole point of coaching thing. And if you're just doing what he says, it's like, okay, how can you ever build above and beyond this and help others with it? When does the purpose come in? When do you feel fulfilled? You feel fulfilled when you help other people. And I knew that already. So I wanted to question things. I wanted to figure out where he was, all the stuff online. Ask those questions. Ask the right questions. Learn when to listen. And the problem is a lot of people, they can have an ego about it, act like they have it all together now, whatever the case is. And doing that really limits you from getting to where that person was. That person at one point, you can't be where they're at now. You got to learn where they came from, whatever, and you can analyze it and put it in your own way. But the only way of doing that is backseat asking questions, and that is trial and error. So when I decided to take the backseat and apply his philosophies, well, when I tore my chest, really analyzing, I wanted to figure out how to do routines and kind of do it on my own. And what am I doing here? Is it exactly efficient? Am I doing more than I'm supposed to? And I really, really took a step back because that's what fueled me, to think I needed to take another direction. I tore my chest. Question, am I supposed to still do this? I already got the body I want. Am I supposed to take a different route? Is this God telling me to take a different route? Should I take a different route with this? Whatever, And song that really resonated with me because I didn't have the best childhood, kind of had to raise myself, when I came out of surgery or whatever. Even then, my parents were trying to control, dictate things. I was coming out of anesthesia. My mom made sure to take all the possible routes with as many stops as possible. I asked if I could take another route. They didn't want to do that. It was a lot of control thing, and it really taught me being so restricted back then because that was another hurdle. Almost, in the past when I've been restricted, how can I still have power even when I'm restricted? My arm's in a sling. You can't even use it. If you lift it, it could destroy the entire surgery. That's why it was so serious coming back, every stop, slamming on the brakes, why it was so scary to me because it could ruin the whole surgery. And I just got so lucky with the surgery. I had not known it at the time. They were able to fully repair it, recover it. And one of the reasons they were so hard on me about possibly messing it up is because apparently I got in a fight or something, not an actual fight, but refused to put it on coming out of anesthesia. Why do I need a sling? So I remember when I was finally getting consciousness, asking, should I wear a sling or whatever, or why do I need to wear it, whatever? And they were like, oh, you need to. I can't even remember what the exact question was, but I remember asking the nurse, and then the guy that did surgery whipped it in. He looked all like a nerdy guy, whipped the curtain, and was like, you need to wear it. And apparently, yeah, I tried to fight them, whatever. So they're real strict on me, but I'm happy that they were about that. And the importance was stressed, and sometimes I feel like I was wearing it. I didn't need to wear it, but like I said, it really taught me that restrictiveness and how to get out of that kind of mindset. So back to my whole training and go back quite a few years, maybe 6 years, whatever, before I built my legs back in school and everything else. Like I was explaining with how things have progressed over and over and over. It's body, then the mind. It's just I've unlocked more and more, and that's just kind of what the gym did. It helped me progress, and if I didn't start that open-mindedness, I wouldn't be where I was at now, and I would have never grown my legs if, only 6 to 8 reps is how you grow legs. Not trying to do different things, even when people tried to tell me to do it, if I thought Sometimes if it was coming from an untrustworthy person, I wouldn't necessarily always want to listen. But when I started to get more open-minded and find the right people and the right support, I learned I could be more open-minded as long as it's, results speak louder than words, sure, but just there's just that trial and error and going in head first and finding some way. I'm always going to find a way to make it happen and work, and that's what the gym taught. So how did the legs actually happen? So my coach, I found a mixture. Make it simplistic. You want to know how to grow your legs? I found a mixture that worked. I apply it for almost everything, but legs in general. Hate to break it to you, it's pretty much all cardio. It's pretty much all endurance, the whole thing, because legs are opposite from the upper body. Mike Menzer said it. I know you've heard the little Mike Menzer crap. He's like, oh, you only got to train like once a week. A lot of it you can't listen to. He is right about it, but Dorian Yates is the one that took it. If you don't know who that is, he was in a Mr. Olympia, pretty sure 6 times. He took it, he perfected it, he was mentored by him. And that's a lot of what I apply. And I do a 2 day on, 1 day off kind of a split for lifting. So the gym, you're not living yourself in the damn gym, but you also can get in the best shape of your life and efficiency for the other areas, which is what I teach through my self-mastery program if you move through the different phases. But it's not for everyone. It's somebody that actually wants to unlock their life, not just quick, easy shortcuts, and doesn't want to actually have structure or make it a lifestyle. They just want something quick and give up. And those people aren't going to last anyway. So the mixture of reps, what does that mean? Okay, when I first started, all 6 to 8 reps, because someone told me, just do like 6 to 8 reps. That's kind of how he talked. He looked like Superman. He was 50 years old, whatever. You wouldn't believe his age. He looked just like Superman. Clark Kent's what they called him. So because I already got that with great results, I got the newbie gains. So I thought, let's just keep the 6 to 8, 6 to 8, 6 to 8. Oh, I'm getting strong. I want to still be strong. If I do higher ups, I won't be strong. So how do you just solve that all together? Keep strength, get muscle growth, and actually build kind of endurance like an athlete, because that's where you get the stimulus and the blood rushing into. So with my lifting, I started to incorporate, let's give you an example. Okay. So say I'm bench pressing. I'll do like 15 reps, then I'll do 10, then I'll do 12, then I'll do 8, something like that. And that's the way I'm hitting hypertrophy. Not only that, I'm stimulating the crap out of it, higher reps. And then maybe the last set I'll do like 20 reps, absolutely rush blood flow in. But with every workout, I'm doing some kind of burnout set all the way at the end. I like to throw a lot of angel numbers in. Something I'm big on is clearing the 33 energetic blocks, which is what I teach in my course, but it's completely progressive. It's not throwing you all at once. Oh, you need to clear all these things. 33, holy crap. 33, all those numbers, big. I try to use, sonic things like 444, it sums to 12, structure, things like that to give it some kind of importance, and like you're dedicating it to some kind of higher power, something bigger than yourself. So with the legs, anything, I always do like for arms. This was shoulders, sorry, all over the place. Shoulders at the end, I did these, they freaking suck. Usually you'd lay on a pad, or you'd have it like my coach does. It's like the incline, you kind of like you're rowing towards this area. It's really fry rear delts and traps. It's nothing like it. But at the gym I train at Carbon, it has one where you're like bent over like a nail, rowing it like that. Something like that that really fries it, rushes blood. Because I learned, just doing 6 to 8s doesn't work. Sure, it'll work on strength, but muscles respond when not only you stimulate the strength aspect, the muscle growth aspect, and then something rushing nutrients and just everything it has left. So legs are pretty much that the whole way, but you have to find a good balance with it. So I do a lot of steps, probably do like 4 exercises. I'll try to do a really good warm-up that's kind of like a superset, get my knees, all that, like most bodybuilders, Jay Cutler do. Found that works best. And what I learned from my coach, which so what I learned from my coach, that superset kind of a thing, then I want to do some kind of compound. I want to work on something. Though that's what's going to get the grip muscle doing a variation, and the strength of doing a compound lift, 3 weights, as well as machines, which is something people miss out on, and they ask me how they do. Got to constantly check the battery on that little thing. But mixture of all that, so the compound, and then I'll do another kind of like something heavy like a leg press. I'll just give you my workout basically. Leg extension supersetted with the hamstring curl, one of my favorites. Then the squat, then the leg press. And then I like to do something that throws hamstrings back in at the end on a complete leg day. Reason being is because that's almost most people's weak point. You've already fried your quad, you might as well hit your legs. But pretty much all of it's high reps, back to back. Nothing over 20. On that compound one, that's when I'll do something a little bit lower reps, because it's fun to screw around with a little bit of strength, as well as it's actually going to. So you keep that strength aspect, training all 3. It's kind of like a pillar. I teach grit, growth, glory. Everything's symbolic and intentional, because when you move that way, people can just tell you're about it. And when you start to be intentional, everything out in your life, the rest of your life starts to be. That's how you start to move like an elite person, which I've learned. People could talk about motivation all day, but do they actually apply it? Am I sitting here? Am I somebody you can actually listen to? I'm actually someone that's done it. I've mastered my body, did my mindset, overcoming the social anxiety. It used to be so bad I couldn't even open my mouth. It's just like the words couldn't come out. And what is it? Lose Yourself by Eminem. 8 Mile. It's pretty close to my life the way I was raised, except for I didn't grow up in a trailer park. And my parents could have helped me more than they desired. But so I've done it. I've overcome the bad, the restrictive things, feeling like almost escaping like a cult. I've mastered my body. I realized the body wasn't just it. To have actual confidence, I need to master my mind. How can I talk to people? How can I be effective? How can I get into the right rooms? The people I've always wanted to be around. I wore a Gold's Gym shirt every day, almost every day, because I wanted to be inspired to be like Arnold. He wore one. I saw him wearing one. And then here I am sitting at the same table with the guy that designed it, showing my t-shirt design. Like, how surreal. And then the actual spiritual aspect, figuring out what do elite people do, how can I be in alignment, how can I purposely position myself like a celebrity would, so that it all catches fire, and then at one time it seems like an overnight sensation. That's the overall goal with it. But all the exact factors had to be in place, and that's exactly how I teach it, so you can be that elite level person.